I welcome you all for the next video session for the lab. So today we'll be studying about the Porter governor. Basically, we will be studying about the governor, and as well as in this particular governor, we'll be studying two types of governor. One is called as a Porter governor, and one more is called as a Hartnell governor. Basically, governor are the devices which are used to control the fuel supply. Okay, so whenever we are riding the automobile or a bike, we need to control the fuel supply depending upon the load which is coming on the vehicle. So if more load is there on the vehicle, we need to add more fuel into the engine so that more power is being generated. So in order to maintain a constant speed for a particular vehicle, this governor plays an important role. So whenever I am riding a bike or a car, so whenever I am driving an uphill, so in this case what happens, because of the terrain, what happens, the vehicle try to uh, climb that hill, and because of that there is a reduction in the speed. In that case what happens, this governor will give more fuel into the particular engine, so that more energy is being generated and you maintain a constant speed. In the same case, whenever you are going the downhill, at that case, because of the gravity, the speed is automatically increased and you need not to have the what we call it as the fuel supply. In that case what happens, because of the high speed, the throttling valve which is there in the engine is what we call it as, it will be having a less opening, so that less amount of fuel is being induced into the engine. So this is the governor which we are talking about. So basically this is a what we call it as the Porter governor. Okay, so in this governor, this is also called as a centrifugal governor. So in this we have different types of parts which will combine to form this particular governor. So I'll just explain what are the parts here. So this is having a single shaft here. Okay, to this shaft we will be having a these links connected to each other. These links are of equal length. So the top half of, if I take the symmetricity, the top half is called as an upper arm and the bottom half is called as an lower arm. So this is the weight which you have placed. So this is called as a dead weight which we are placing, and the bottom whatever is there, this is called as a slip. Okay, and these are called as a ball, and we will be having the mass of the, will be knowing the mass of the each ball. So what happens here is, so when I on the machine, so just you can see when I on the machine, okay, there is a sleeve displacement which is happening. So as I increase the speed, there is a sleeve displacement. You can see this, there is a sleeve displacement which is happening. Okay, so this sleeve displacement will govern the opening and closing of the valve. So this is connected to a throttling valve. Okay, or with the help of a bell crank lever, it is connected to a throttling valve. When the speed is more, if you can just see here, when the speed is more, the sleeve displacement is more. So in the other hand, in the throttling valve, when the speed is more, you require less fuel. Okay, you require less fuel to run the system. So what this is, this throttling a bell crank lever is connected to this. Because of that, what happens, the smaller amount of opening is created. Don't see this opening, this is connected to a bell crank lever and it is connected to a throttling valve. Because of that, the valve opening will be very less, and when it is slowing down, if you just see, when it is slowing down, the opening is less, the sleeve displacement is less. At this particular point, it gives a signal to the engine, and throttling valve will open more and more fuel is being injected in the engine to maintain a constant speed. Here what we require is, we need to maintain a constant speed for an automobile. Because of that, this governor is very much used in the automobile sector or automobiles. So nowadays we have all electronic controls, okay, which will govern the fuel supply. But in the previous cases, this was the base where they have used speed and load as a criteria to control the fuel supply. So in this particular experiment, what we are doing is, we are trying to find out the controlling force. Okay, so controlling force is nothing but the centrifugal force. When I apply the uh, RPM or apply a speed, what is happening is I am giving a angular velocity to this particular shaft. When angular velocity is given, what happens here is because of those balls, so a centrifugal force is being generated. So you can just see here, there is a centrifugal force which is being generated. Because of the centrifugal force, it has an outward push. Because of that outward push, the sleeve displacement is happening. So what we are trying to find out is, we are trying to find out what is the relationship between the centrifugal force or the controlling force versus radius of rotation. So what we call it as radius of rotations is, so from this particular shaft, if I take as an axis and this as an axis, with respect to the axis of rotation, what will be the controlling force, and with respect to the speed also. So if the speed increases, the controlling force increases. If the speed decreases, the controlling force decreases. And because of this, why we are placing this weight is, every automobile has a certain weight. Okay, so because of the weight, the engine has to carry the weight and it has to give the proper power to the system to run that particular weight. So this is the weight which we are placing on this particular system. So we will be knowing the mass of this weight, and for the calculation purpose, what we are doing is, there is a sleeve displacement here. Okay, so for a sleeve displacement of 10 mm, for a sleeve displacement of 20 mm, 30 mm, I will be trying to find out what is the speed of the governor. So for 10 mm displacement, what will be the speed? For 20 mm displacement, what will be the speed? Okay, so what we are trying to do is, we are trying to plot a graph that what will be the controlling force, whether the controlling force increases with respect to increase in the speed, okay, or not. We will be trying to plot the graph. We will be plotting the graph with respect to controlling force and radius of rotation. So first, for calculating that, we will be seeing some of the observation for this. So if you see the observation here, we will be seeing the observation table here. The first observation is length of each link. So I have shown you there are 4 links there. So length of each link, when we measure them, it is of 140 mm. So then comes initial height of the governor. So when it is in the off position, what is the distance from the sleeve? So end of the sleeve to the end of the shaft, we will be seeing that. Then initial radius of rotation. So between each ball, each end of the ball, what is the distance we will be calculating, and then we will be seeing what is the weight of the sleeve. So weight of the sleeve is already been given, it is 0.85 kg. So in the observation, if you see here, first I will be selecting the sleeve displacement here. So for 10 mm, for 20 mm, for 30 mm, and for 40 mm, what will be the RPM, I will be checking. Then I will be coming reverse. So why we are doing this is, so the controlling force with the radius of rotation while rising, which means that if I am increasing the sleeve displacement, or if the RPM is increasing, whether the while increasing and while decreasing, whether we will be having the same RPM or not, we will be checking. Why? Because there is a loss, there is always, we call it as an error called as hysteresis. So we will be checking that hysteresis, whether this hysteresis is coming or not. Why? Because whenever we are doing the theoretical calculation, we will have a smooth graph while coming as well as while returning it back to its initial position. But when we do practically, there are a lot of forces which will be restricting that particular motion. That forces will contribute in the error formation. So whether that hysteresis curve is happening or not, in order to check, we will be taking the reverse values also, 30, 20 and 10. Okay, so I'll explain you what is the initial height of the governor. I'll show you what is the length of each link and what is the initial radius of rotation. Okay, we'll be seeing in this particular. Okay, now we'll be we'll be seeing the 3 observations. One is called as the length of each link. So length of each link is being measured like this. So I have to go from this end to this end. All links are of same length. So if I check here, I will be getting 140 mm. Okay, so only we have written the length of each link as 140 mm. Then comes the initial height of the governor. Initial height of the governor, that is h naught, is taken from the end of the sleeve. This is called as a sleeve. So this will be the sleeve which will be displacing. So the length of that will be considered from this end to this. Okay, so what we are exactly doing is h naught is nothing but this, whatever the length we have taken, whatever that is 24 centimeter, it should be divided by 2. So basically whenever we are doing calculation, we will be taking from this end, okay, from this end to the end of this shaft. So if I take here, so it will be 120 mm. If you want a still more better way, you have to take from here and you have to divide it by 2. So we will be getting the exact value. As it is of equal length, the h value will be remain same. That is the initial height of the sleeve. When the speed of the governor increases, this h value will goes on changing because of the centrifugal force. Because of the high speed, it will decrease, and because of the less speed, it will be increasing. Okay, so we have calculated the initial height of the governor, or initial height of the governor, that is 120 mm. Then we will be seeing the radius of what we call it as rotation. Radius of rotation, if I see it from the top side, so the radius of rotation will be this particular case, that will be diametrical rotation. So if I take it from the center, that will be the radius of rotation. So initial radius of rotation, you have to calculate the initial radius of rotation. So when it is in the off condition, I will be taking from center to center. So if I take it from center to center, it will be 30 centimeter. So diameter is 30 centimeter, half the diameter will be the radius. So we have taken it as 15 centimeter. Now what we will be doing is, so you can see this particular scale here. Okay, there is a scale here and there is a graduations for this scale. So this scale I will be setting for 10 mm. So for 10 mm sleeve displacement, what would be the speed of this particular governor? Okay, so we'll start with this experiment. So first I will be setting it for 10 mm. So slowly how to rotate it. So for 1 centimeter, now it is for 1 centimeter, we have got the speed as 248 rpm. Okay, we have got the speed of 248 rpm. Next we will be increasing for 2 centimeter or 20 mm. So I will be slowly moving this. Okay, 256 rpm. So for 256 rpm we have got rise of 2 centimeter. Now we'll go for 3 centimeter. Okay, 267 rpm for 3 centimeter rise, it is 267 rpm. Next we'll go for the 4 centimeter rise. So for 4 centimeter I'll just increase the rpm. Okay, 277 rpm for 4 centimeter line. So now what we are doing is we have taken the rising sleeve displacement. Once again we'll lower it. Okay, we'll lower it so that we'll be checking whether the controlling force for rising and lowering is same or there is any error in between them. Okay, so we'll start with the 3 centimeter once again. Okay, now we have got 253 RPM. While lowering from 4 centimeter to 3 centimeter, the RPM is 253 RPM. So next we will go for 2 centimeter. Okay, we got 238 RPM. So 238 RPM is from 3 centimeter to 2 centimeter. Finally, we will take it for 1 centimeter. Okay, we will be seeing this final value. So we got 230 RPM. Okay, so 230 RPM. Like this, we need to measure the values of. I just stop it. Now we'll be seeing the readings here, whatever we have observed from the or whatever the readings we have taken. So for rising from 10, so from 0 to 10 mm, you had a 248 RPM. From 20 to 20 mm, you had 256 RPM. From 30 mm, you had 267 RPM. For 40 mm, you had 277 RPM. For once again, when while going back, we had for 30 mm 253 RPM, and for 20 mm we had 238 RPM, and for 10 mm we once again we had 230 RPM. So now these are the motor speed and this is the sleeve displacement. So out of these we need to do the other calculations. So first is speed. Okay, the speed or the angular velocity of the particular shaft speed. So which is basically given as 2 pi n by 60. So that will be giving you as radians per second. So n is nothing but the RPM which you need to incorporate here. If you do divide by 60, you will be getting radians per second. So next term comes radius of rotation. So as we can't directly maintain because it is in the rotation motion, we cannot directly measure what would be the radius of rotation of the at that particular point. So basically radius of rotation is given as 50 plus L sin alpha, which you will be getting because of that. Whenever we do the derivation for Porter governor, we will be getting this equation R is equal to 50 plus L sin alpha. So what is L here is, L is nothing but the length of the link. Okay, alpha is nothing but how we will be calculating is, you will be seeing in this in the derivation part. So alpha is cos inverse H by L. H is nothing but this particular case, which is H naught minus x by 2. So H naught is nothing but the initial height of the governor, which is 120 mm, which has been given. X is nothing but the sleeve displacement which you have taken. So when you do this, you will be getting the value of H. So when you substitute H and L, you will be getting the value of alpha. When you substitute the value of alpha and L, you will be getting the value of radius, and it is in mm. So final one is the F is equal to basically it is m omega square r, or it is W by G omega square r. W is nothing but the weight of the sleeve which is been given here. The weight of the sleeve which is been given, which is 0.85 kg. So 0.85 kg divided by g, that is acceleration due to gravity, and omega square you will be calculating through this, and r is the radius of rotation which you will be calculating. So if you do, you will be getting the value of F. So in the graph part, what you have to do is you have to do the graph part for, if I see, you have to do the graph part for radius, the controlling force versus the radius of rotation. Controlling force versus radius of rotation you have to do. So you will be getting a graph somewhat like this. So you will be getting a points when you plot these values. So you have to draw a best fit curve. So just check while coming back whether it is tracing the same. So while going up, it is this forward, this curve, whether while coming back it will be having a same path, or it will be tracing a new curve. Okay, new path, whether it is tracing. So if this happens, there will be an hysteresis error in the what we call it as in the governor. So this hysteresis error should be very less. Okay, then only the governor will be working properly, because unless it cannot judge the speed of the particular vehicle, it cannot provide the fuel supply. So that we are trying to find out, that is a controlling force versus radius of rotation. In the theoretical case, it will be having a single curve. Whatever the forward motion is there, while coming back also it should have the same speed and same radius of same force and same radius of rotation. But while doing the practical, you will find some error. Okay, that you need to check it. So the calculation part, once again it will be explained in the later video. Thank you.
Hello students, welcome to the observation and calculation part of the Porter-Governor experiment. So here on the screen you can see the observations noted down. So upon measuring the length of each link, we get it as 140 mm. So we denote it as small l, and this will be using in the further calculations. So the initial height of governor is h0, which comes to 120 mm. The initial radius of rotation is r0, which is equal to 15 centimeters. The weight of each sleeve, that is W, is equal to 0.85 kg. So now with these observations, we will be performing the experiment. So you have already seen how to perform the experiments. So now we will note down these readings in the table as shown. So this is the table. So we have serial number, motor speed, the speed in radians per second, sleeve displacement denoted as x in mm, radius of rotation, again that will be in mm, and force F. So for every sleeve displacement, we denote the RPM. So you have already seen for 10 mm sleeve displacement, the motor speed is 248 RPM. Similarly for 20 mm, it is 256 RPM. For 30 mm, it is 267 RPM. For 40 mm, it is 277 RPM. And again, when you reduce the speed and bring back the sleeve displacement to 30 mm, the RPM will be 253 and not 267. So this is because of the hysteresis that is developed, and that we will also prove it by plotting the graph later in the experiment. Similarly, for 20 mm sleeve displacement, the motor speed will be 238 RPM. For 10 mm sleeve displacement, the motor speed will be 230 RPM. So now what I'll be doing is I'll be calculating only for these 248 RPM, that is I'll be calculating the speed in radians per second, or the angular velocity of the motor. Then I'll be calculating the radius of rotation for the first sleeve displacement of 10 mm, and the force in kg will be calculated. The centrifugal force in kg will be calculated. So on the similar lines, you need to calculate for the other set of RPM and displacements. So let us see now the calculation part of the experiment. So the first step in the calculation is the speed of the motor in radians per second, or the angular velocity of the motor. It is given by the equation omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60. So for the first speed value, we denote it as n1. So n is equal to n1 is 248 rpm. So omega 1 is equal to 2 pi n1 by 60. So that is equal to 2 pi into 248 upon 60. So omega 1 will be equal to 25.97 radians per second. That is, this is when I calculate, it will come to 25.97 radians per second. Similarly, calculate omega 2 to omega 7 and note down in the table as shown. So here in the table, I have noted it down as 25.97. Also in your journal, you have to show the calculation for the remaining set of speeds, and they have to be noted down in the table over here. Now we shall see how to determine the radius of rotation r. So to determine r, we need the alpha value, and to determine the alpha, we need h value. So first we shall see how to determine h, then how to determine alpha, and how to determine the radius of rotation r. So here h is given by the equation h0 minus x by 2. So for the first sleeve displacement, x is equal to x1, so that's equal to 10 mm. So h1 is equal to h0 minus x1 by 2, so that is equal to 120 minus 10 by 2, because we have x1 as 10 mm, that is the sleeve displacement, and h0 is the initial height of the governor which we have measured, it is 120 mm. So substituting that value, it comes to 115 mm over here, that will be h1. Similarly, calculate the values of h2 to h7. So here one hint I can give you to save your calculations. h1 will be equal to h7, h2 will be equal to h6, and h3 will be equal to h5, because x1 is equal to x7, x2 is equal to x6, and x3 is equal to x5. So you need to only calculate the value of h1, then h2, h3, and h4, because h5 will be equal to h3, h6 will be equal to h2, and h7 will be equal to h1. So you can show that in your journal that way. Now for different values of h, considering the same, we will calculate alpha. So alpha is given as cos inverse of h by L. So for h1, we denote alpha as alpha 1, so that comes to cos inverse of h1 by L. So substitute this h1 115, and L we already have measured, it is 140 mm. So this comes to 34.77 degrees. So similarly, calculate alpha 2 to alpha 7. So here also you have to calculate alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, and alpha 4. Because alpha 5 will be equal to alpha 3, alpha 6 will be equal to alpha 2, and alpha 7 will be equal to alpha 1, because here the h value, that is h5, will be equal to h3. So h6 will be equal to h2, and h7 will be equal to h1. For that reason, these values of alpha will be also equal. Okay, now once h and alpha are calculated, we will calculate the value of r. So the radius of rotation r is given as r is equal to 50 plus L into sine alpha. So for alpha 1, r we denote it as r1, so that comes as 50 plus L into sine alpha 1. So L is constant, this comes to 140, and alpha 1 we have already calculated it as 34.77. So substituting that here, we get r1 as 129.84 millimeters, because here L we have taken it as millimeters. We can convert that into meter by multiplying this to 10 to power minus 9, or 12.98 centimeters. So note down the value of r1 in the table. Similarly, calculate r2 to r7 and note them down in the table. So again here there will be a hint. So you need to calculate r1, r2, r3, and r4. But r5 will be equal to r3, r6 will be equal to r2, and r7 will be equal to r1, because we have only the parameter alpha over here. That is, alpha 1 will be equal to alpha 7. So you don't have to calculate again r7. alpha 2 will be equal to alpha 6, so no need to calculate R6. Alpha 3 will be equal to alpha 5, so no need to calculate R5. Clear? So you can just write their values. So once you have calculated the radius of rotation, you have to note all those radius of rotation in this table, in this column over here. So now our table will have the motor speed in radians per second, sleeve displacement and radius of rotation. So once we have got these radius of rotation, lastly we need to determine the centrifugal force F. So let us see how to determine the centrifugal force F. So the force F is given by the equation W into omega square into R upon this, the acceleration due to gravity, that is G. W we already know, it is the weights which are present in that governor. So their weight is 0.85 kg. Omega we have already calculated, R also we have calculated, and G is constant 9.81 meters per second square. So for the first set of readings, that is for omega 1 and R1, we calculate F1. So F1 will be W into omega 1 square into R1 upon G. So W is 0.85 kg, so I try to write it as 0.85. Omega 1 we have calculated it as 25.97, so substitute that here and square it. And R1 we have calculated it in millimeters, that is 129.84. Convert that into meter over here for the calculation purpose by multiplying by 10 to power minus 3. The reason is, in the denominator we have the acceleration due to gravity G, which is 9.81 meters per second square. So calculation of this equation will come to 7.587 kg. Similarly calculate F2 to F7. So here one thing you should note, we will not have any equals over here like in the previous cases because of this omega term. Though R1 is equal to R7, omega 1 is not equal to omega 7. So hence F1 cannot be equal to F7. So you have to show all the 7 independent calculations in your journal. So once you have calculated F1 to F7, note them down in the table as shown. So this is the final tabulation we will have. So now we have all the columns filled. Now once you have all the columns filled, we need to plot the graph force versus radius of rotation. So you will have these set of values as the centrifugal force, these set of values as the radius of rotation. So with that we will plot now the graph. Okay, so coming to the graph, on the x-axis we have the radius of rotation in meters, then in the y we have the centrifugal force, that is F in kg. So you have to take a suitable scale and on a proper graph sheet plot these points as shown as F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 and F6. So I have shown these values for your understanding purpose. So you have to plot this and join them and you will get the curve. The nature of curve will be in this pattern. Technically, the curve should be a single line because from F1 to F4 the path should be same as F4 to F1. But because of the hysteresis, we get a different RPM over here. That is from 10 mm to 20 to 30 to 40. The same RPM will not be from 40 to 30 to 20 to 10. So that is because of this hysteresis which is developed. So students, that's all we have here in this experiment on Poulter governors. So do the calculations neatly and properly in your journal. If you have any doubts, you can put your doubt in the comment section below. So one set of calculation is shown to you. On the similar lines, you have to do the calculation for the other set of readings. So thank you very much.